Imagine waking up one morning and finding yourself looking down at skyscrapers. Buildings that once scraped the sky are now dwarfed by your immense stature. You are no longer merely human. You have become a titan, a being of immense size rivaling the largest dinosaurs to ever walk the earth. This is no longer a world built for us. It is a world we must navigate as living mountains. Your once familiar street has transformed into a miniature canyon. Cars look like toys scattered below. The transformation is startling, disorienting. This is the jarring reality of our thought experiment. What if humans were the size of dinosaurs? What if we suddenly found ourselves thrust into a world that seems to have shrunk around us? The enormity of such a change is hard to grasp. Our perception of the world, our relationship with our surroundings, everything would be irrevocably altered. Suddenly the world would become both terrifying and exhilarating. Our everyday lives, once mundane, would become a constant negotiation with a world no longer designed for creatures of our scale. This is not just a question of growing taller or wider. It's about reimagining our very existence within the context of our planet. It's about understanding the profound interplay between size, biology, and environment. So let's step into this world, into the skin of a giant, and explore the implications of this colossal shift. The most immediate challenge of our newfound size is our own biology. Our bodies, miraculously transformed, would face immense physiological challenges. Our bones, now needing to support weights comparable to a humpback whale, would need to be denser, thicker, perhaps even radically different in composition. Could our current skeletal structure, reliant on calcium and collagen, withstand the pressures of gigantism? Our circulatory system, responsible for pumping blood throughout our colossal frames, would face an equally daunting task. The heart, now the size of a small car, would need to exert tremendous force to circulate blood up to our heads, perhaps requiring novel adaptations in our vascular system. Could our hearts, even with enhanced muscle and efficiency, keep up with the demands of a supersized body? Even breathing would be a Herculean effort. Our lungs, now needing to oxygenate a body with the volume of a swimming pool, would need to process air on an entirely different scale. The very act of inhaling and exhaling would require a fundamental restructuring of our respiratory system, perhaps even borrowing from the efficient air sac systems of dinosaurs. Could our lungs, even with these radical changes, provide sufficient oxygen for our energy needs? These are just a few of the biological hurdles we'd face. The transformation into giants would necessitate a complete overhaul of our physiology. It begs the question, could our human blueprint, even with these fantastical adaptations, truly function at such a scale? It is a question that delves into the very limits of biology, pushing us to reevaluate the delicate balance of life at such extreme sizes. The impact on our built environment would be nothing short of catastrophic. Cities, once symbols of human ingenuity, would be rendered instantly obsolete. Skyscrapers would become precarious towers dwarfed by our presence. Streets would transform into narrow canyons, impossible to navigate without causing widespread destruction. Homes, offices, schools, all would be reduced to rubble under the weight of our footsteps. Transportation systems, from cars to trains to airplanes, would be utterly useless. The infrastructure that underpins our civilization would crumble in the face of our colossal forms. Our very existence would necessitate a complete reimagining of the urban landscape. Imagine trying to navigate a world where a single footstep could level a city block. The logistics of simply existing in this new reality would be staggering. Could we adapt our cities, our transportation, our entire way of life to accommodate our colossal size? Or would we be forced to abandon our urban centers, seeking refuge in a world less suited to our scale? The transformation of our cities would be a stark reminder of the delicate balance between human construction and the forces of nature. It would underscore the immense power inherent in our new forms, a power that could easily obliterate the very structures we've spent centuries creating. Our relationship with the built environment, once one of dominance and control, would need to be redefined in this new era of giants. Section 4. Hunger of a Titan, feeding a world of giants. The challenges wouldn't stop at our infrastructure. Feeding a population of billions, now scaled up to gargantuan proportions, would be an insurmountable task. Our caloric needs would be astronomical. A single meal for one of us could deplete entire farms. Food shortages, already a concern in our current world, would become an existential threat. Agriculture, as we know it, would be woefully inadequate. We would need to develop entirely new methods of food production, perhaps cultivating colossal crops or relying on bioengineered food sources. Even then, the logistics of harvesting and distributing such massive quantities of food would be mind-boggling. Could we, as a species, even hope to produce enough sustenance to sustain ourselves? The very act of eating would become a monumental undertaking. Imagine trying to hold a fork now the size of a tree trunk, or consuming enough food to satisfy an appetite that could rival a small country. Our relationship with food, once a source of pleasure and sustenance, would be forever altered. The need to fuel our massive bodies would become a driving force in this new world, shaping our priorities and reshaping our relationship with the planet. It would be a constant struggle, a race against starvation that would test the limits of our ingenuity and resourcefulness. The question wouldn't be whether we could adapt to our new size, but whether the planet itself could sustain such colossal appetites. Section 5. Remaking our world. Tools and technology for a colossal era. Our tools and technologies, once extensions of our human ingenuity, would appear comically small and fragile in our gigantic hands. Cars would be like toy cars, computers like pocket calculators. We would need to reinvent the very concept of tools, designing and building them on a scale never before imagined. Imagine wielding tools the size of buildings, operating machinery that dwarfs entire city blocks. Our relationship with technology would be fundamentally altered, requiring a new era of innovation and engineering prowess. We would need to harness the power of our new size, developing technologies that could amplify our strengths and compensate for our limitations. Transportation would pose a unique challenge. Our every step would have the potential to level buildings, making traditional vehicles impractical and dangerous. We might turn to airships, massive hot air balloons capable of carrying our weight, or develop entirely new modes of transportation, perhaps harnessing anti-gravity technology or manipulating magnetic fields. The world as we know it would need to be redesigned, rebuilt, and reimagined to accommodate our colossal presence. It would be a monumental task, requiring global cooperation and unprecedented levels of innovation. But it would also be an opportunity to rethink our relationship with technology, to create a world that is not only functional, but also sustainable and harmonious with our new forms.